Dear colleagues, I greet everybody. I will be a little bit shorter because we have a very simple project. I could summarize our activities in one sentence, but I have a little bit more time for that. So I try to introduce our project in a wider context. Maybe that's the reason I will start in 2003. So, in 2003, the Ministry of Information Technology and Communication ordered the research and the survey about the cultural public assets in Hungary. I think this is a very serious sentence, that not a cultural ministry or something like that, but a ministry responsible for IT sectors ordered a survey like this. I think it happened because they had the money. Not had, they have the money. So after this survey, probably they wanted to do something. So this project, in this project, the leader was the Hungarian Library Institute, and the consortial partner was the Naima János Digital Library and Multimedia Center, which doesn't exist anymore. It was the title of this survey. The duration of the project was 5 months. Altogether, 36 experts from 22 cultural heritage organizations took part in it. The project determined the special priorities by sectors, I mean by library, museum, archive, audiovisual collections, heritage in real estate. I was one of, or in some issues, the only expert from the archives. This survey became the primary source in argumentation of fundraising for digitizing. The result, the final report is available only in Hungarian. So, you can see the main statements regarding the archival domain, which were the follow about the quantities. In that time, 10 years ago, the total amount of the archival material was 3.5 billion. In Hungarian we say milliard, but in English billion pages. And from that need to be digitized 40 million units, 200 million pages, so 6% of the total. This 6% consists of 2/3 records, 1/4 plans and census, and 6% medieval charter seals and maps. For this archival need to be digitized material needed the capacity 800, the needed capacity was 847 terabyte, which in 2003 was a dream. So we thought that it is too big to understand this capacity. Nowadays we say that we are closer and closer to that, so it could be reality. What could be the priorities by the cultural institutions? There was a survey among them, and they made the answers, and this is the result. So we thought that the important priorities are the value, the interest, the usage, and the bad condition. This is a good news for the conservation and restoration departments, because they are always feel that they are not in the first line. We always strengthen them. This survey can strengthen them too. So, especially in the archival domain in 2003, we decided, or we determined the most important documents, the medieval charters in Hungary before the Mohács battle, the so-called corporate minutes from the prime ministry up to political parties, plans and manuscripts, maps. So it was a theoretic survey, and then in 2006 the Hungarian Cultural Fund decided to support the digitizing activities in the cultural collections. The fund, at least in the archival sector, had consulted with the organizations and accepted the priority list of the mentioned survey. Between 2006 and 2009, an enormous quantity of the medieval or other privilege containing charters, corporate minutes, cadastral and other manuscript maps and plans were digitized in many, more than 70 projects financed by the fund. Later, perhaps because of the economic crisis or the new unorthodox domestic policies, the digitizing activities froze for a while. But after a 3-year-long recession in 2013, new period began. We strongly hope that the period has begun and it was not a one-year story. I would like to emphasize that the National Cultural Fund was not the only supporter for digitizing, because some other domestic or international projects, like for example ANARC, gave also opportunities to digitize the archival material. Regarding the amount of fund support, we should say that it is our gold or platina category supporter. So some data and figures about the financing between 2005 and 2014, so about a decade. During this period, for the archival sector was given 810,000 euro for digitizing, and from that almost 300,000 euro was giving for digitizing and georeferencing of cadastral maps, so the 1/3 of this support. You can see two hills. I can say that those were the days, as the song says, those were the days between 2006 and 2009 when a lot of money was given for the digital activities, and later it is not so brave, not so brilliant period. On this pie you can see the 4-year. During this four year happened almost all digital activities on the archival domain. If we say this figure by document types, you can see two hilltops. The first is for cadastral maps, georeferencing and other maps, and the other hilltops is the medieval charters and minutes. The rest were not so important, as the survey said, but we were the lucky who were interested in map digitizing, because we had a lot of money for our projects. This is the same. Okay. About the partnership. In these digitizing projects, the almost only partner was and is Arcanum Database Limited Company. The success of this company, so the success of our digitizing projects is hidden in the final scope, to publish the digitized material with the most modern and up-to-date IT solutions. We have to admit that especially on the field of the cadastral maps, this company is not a chosen third party who fulfill our orders or requests, but it was the initiator of many cases, and it lobbied for the supporting financial background. Even the georeferencing was their invention. We only accepted it and enjoyed the results. About the publication. At the beginning, the cadastral maps of the counties, which are mainly kept in the National Archive, were published on DVD, usually a twin double-layer version. It is almost 15 gigabyte. Am I right? Yeah, 15 gigabyte. The advantage of this form is to get the sheets in integer format, so not only the surface of the settlements, but the rest of the sheets with a lot of administrative or prosopographically important information are available for studying. Later, the georeferencing and mosaicing were the techniques to publish the cadastral maps on the internet, linking them to Google, etc. You have heard about this from Sándor. And now I would like to speak our small, sometimes boring project. Although the digitizing activities on cadastral maps seemed to be closer and closer to the perfection, we felt that the usage of the cadastral maps is really restricted. Looking at the map sheets, we see colors, lines, figures, shapes, some names, text and titles, and a lot of numbers. Neither the legend nor the equivalent to the numbers were available. This material alone is not sufficient to become a real historic source for researches. So the staff members of the National Archive of Hungary decided to continue the exploration of cadastral maps and, what more important could be, the exploration of the cadastral records. The cadastral maps and records are kept in National Archive, County Archives, Institute of Geodesy, Cartography and Remote Sensing, and there are some documentation at the settlements or individuals too. We are not in that lucky situation like our Austrian colleagues that the National Archive would keep in well-ordered and ready-to-use conditions the relevant archival material. So, we organized a work group in 2012 and successfully applied at the Hungarian Scientific Research Fund for the costs of 2 young staff members, digitizing and IT devices. More 2 scientific experts worked for this project, and in the frame of NR we reached noticeable results. In our cadastral collections, there are 1,221 fascicles cadastral documentation, ordered by counties and in alphabetical order of the settlements within. Unfortunately, we have not the whole material, but approximately 2/3 of the settlements. Since 2013 till the end of this year, we have been exploring these fascicles, identifying, describing, paginating, reboxing, and partially digitizing the units. Altogether, we described circa 12,000, almost 13,000 units, so 8-9 document types by settlement is the average, The cadastral records are very good primary sources for family, settlement, economy historians, ethnographers, and so on. So, as Sándor mentioned his sources, when we speak about the cadastral maps, we always speak about so-called, in German, I don't know in Croatian, Polska, Feldskizzen, so in German, Feldskizzen, we always say Feldskizzen, the cadastral map themselves, and the so-called Indikationsskizze. So these 3 types are the common sources of these projects. And we said that it is not enough. We can't understand all the documentation without all the maps, without the other documentation. So that was the reason we started to explore our written materials. As the official instruction says, so many documentation was made about every settlement, and among them there are only 3 above or earlier mentioned documentation, the Skizzen and the maps. So if we could explore this whole documentation, we could better understand these sources. So till the middle of 2014, we had developed our database in folio views, which gave the very easy opportunity to publish the metadata and till then digitized maps and records on the new Hungarian Cultural Heritage Portal, the so-called Hungaricana. I would like to show it later. Since July 2014, we have been developing our database in the new integrated archival system in Skup. Especially probably the Slovenian colleague could share their experiences about Skup. We are not all absolutely satisfied with that till now. So, there in Skup, you can search among the units, but till now there is no opportunity to see the images in the scope. If this deficiency will persist till the end of the project, we have to export our data and upload them with the new images to Hungaricana again. The export function is also a deficiency still. At the start of our project, we had no official prescriptions, instructions in our hands, and although the literature mentioned these instructions, we couldn't see anyone. Because of the lack of the instructions, we planned to reconstruct the doc types, their order and connections from the remained archival material. Thanks to the good partnership with the Institute of Geodesy, from their non-public library we could collect all the instructions. We have digitized and OCR'd them, which was a real challenge in case of German fractured letters. Yeah. We did it. We published it on a website, so you can reach it and you can use the copy-paste technology on these documents. So, and this is the moment I would like to mention the power of ICARUS community. We missed some pages from an instruction, so I asked Thomas Aigner to help us and make those pages to be digitized from Lower Austrian Library, because we knew that they have an exemplar from that instruction. I've sent my email at 9. The response with the requested images in attachment arrived quite late at 5 in the afternoon. In our project, we also try to discover the resources, the contemporary and the modern literature regarding the history of the cadastral surveys. Just like a small element of that purpose, I would like to show our maps, on which my colleague visualized the development of the cadastral survey. Oh. So this is in 1891. This is before the First World War. So you can see, and from here you can understand that in the whole country, the cadastral land survey was never finished before the end of the war. Especially in Transylvania, there were some counties where the survey started, but this is a total terra incognita in this activity. Sorry, I made a mistake. But it is not far the end. So, respecting the fact that the new scientific results have not enough platform to disseminate and penetrate, in 2013 we established a paper format quarterly titled Katastrum, devoted to the cadastral surveys. This periodical has an online version too, where not only the print version is available, but a lot of additional information, for example, the mentioned instructions in double-layer format also. We will finish our project in this year, and we are planning to continue it with the digitizing and the exploring of the cadastral documentation kept in the county archives. For that, we made a new application to our office. Of course, we requested money. With or without their support, we will continue the exploring, digitizing, publishing the cadastral material and publishing of articles in Katastrum. We have four smaller, not copies, small numbers from last year, and this material is available in Zagreb in the National Archives Library. Am I right, Bratka? Yeah. And yeah, I don't want to explain how Skup works. It is very interesting. I don't know why. It is available in Arabic language as well, if you see. I don't know why. Is it important to reach the Hungarian National Library's fonts in Arabic language? But I am too small to understand everything, so I don't want to understand. what I'd like to show is maps.americana. There is something with ash. This is in English. So if you choose the Hungarian National Archive, Magyarországos Levéltár S79, this is the cadastral documentation, and if you choose the records with images, so you can see not only maps but documentations as well. So these are Festskizzen. And there is a village. Which are very important documentation, the so-called Parcellen protocol, on which you can see number by number every owner's professions and so on and so on. And these are digitized and you can study it on the internet for free. And no, thank you for your kind attention.